And we're back for another edition of Over Under on I Could Be Wrong. It's where Justin gives us three players he thinks that will go over their projected fantasy total on Sunday, and three players he thinks will go under their projected fantasy total on Sunday. Without further ado, we will kick it over to our resident fantasy expert, Justin. Take it away, sir.
All right, yeah. So starting season 2 and 4 is not too thrilling. So I'm trying to gain some ground here. Um, Maybe some people will take my advice. I'm gonna start with
Maybe.
I'm gonna start with Damien Pierce. I think just purely disrespectful here. 11 points is the projection. I'm gonna take the over for running back Damien Pierce. I'm predicting 75 yards, a touchdown, 4 catches, and 25 receiving yards. That should net him 20 plus points. Bottom line is he's unquestioned running back there in Houston. They released Marlon Mack, so that tells you a lot about what they think about him. They've got Rex Burkhead, second on their depth chart right now, who, he's going to catch a couple of passes out of the backfield, but, I think his prime days are behind him. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So with that said, I mean, it could very easily be where Houston falls behind in a game against Indianapolis, and, he gets a handful of catches and PPR. We know how valuable those can be. So I just think overall he's going to get the workload to really go over that 11-point mark. 75 rushing yards, that touchdown, 4 catches and 25 yards, I think is easily doable. If you've got Damien Pierce, I think you start him. Also, linebacker for the Colts is going to be out, one of their starting linebackers this week. He's already been ruled out. So that's going to bode well for Houston as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know if he'll get to 20, but I think he's definitely going to score more than 11. When I saw that was his projected number, I was pretty surprised. So yeah, I agree. All right, who you got for us next?
Next, I got Tony Pollard. I know you and I differ on the role of Tony Pollard fantasy-wise, or like where him and Ezekiel Elliott are going to end the year, and that's okay. But I like Pollard in this game, especially with the fact that look, 2 out of the Cowboys' 3 top receivers last year aren't going to be in this game. Gallup, he's out injured, and then there's Cooper, who was traded away. So there's going to be a lot of targets to go around there. And, when you're talking about running backs catching the ball on the Cowboys, you're going to give that nod to Tony Pollard because he's more athletic than Ezekiel Elliott. He's got better hands. They have an unheralded group of wide receivers. Outside of CeeDee Lamb, their wide receiver 2 is going to be Tolbert. I can't think of his first name, if I'm being honest. But he's slated to be their wide receiver 2. He's a rookie. He had kind of an up and down preseason. So I just think Pollard's gonna see by default some extra targets. I'm predicting 42 rushing yards. I think Ezekiel Elliott does get more rushing yards and more rushing attempts, but where Pollard's going to see the big benefit is he's going to get 6 catches, 55 receiving yards. He should eclipse 11 points. I'm going to give him at 15 plus points. He should go over 11, but I'm going to give him at 15 plus.
All right. Yeah, I think he's going to go over 11 as well. You know how I feel. I've told you, I think he's going to be the number 1 running back in Dallas by the end of the season. Yeah. Mike McCarthy already said that the way he sees it, they have 2 number 1 running backs. So that lets me know that
this week.
Zeke's on his way out the door. He has no more guaranteed money in his contract after this year either. So he's probably already looking ahead anyway. So yeah. I think Tony Pollard definitely goes over 11 points. I agree with you. He's probably going to be somewhere around 15 to 18.
I think you confidently start him as a flex player this week.
Yep. All right, who you got for us last on the over here?
So my last one here is going to be Christian Kirk. I like Christian Kirk this season for a lot of reasons in fantasy football because, one, the Jags could easily be playing behind in a lot of games, and they're just going to be chunking the ball. But in this game in particular, he's projected to get 13 points. He's their unquestioned number one. They're going against a Washington defense that last year gave up the fifth most yards to receivers and fifth most touchdowns to receivers. So I think they could easily just get in like a scoring battle because both defenses aren't really that good. The Jaguars defense was ranked number 27 last year. So I just believe that he's their number one receiver. They brought him in, paid him all that money for a reason. I'm a believer in Trevor Lawrence. I think he's got all the talent in the world. He just was a part of a dysfunctional season last year as a rookie, and that was really unfortunate. So I think he's going to really shine. Christian Kirk's going to be the beneficiary with 8 catches, 90 receiving yards, and a touchdown. That should put him right at 20 points or so, and he should easily eclipse that 13-point mark.
Yeah, I think that's a solid one as well. I like it.
I mean, you could start him as a wide. I would start him as a wide receiver too. I have him as a flex in one of my leagues because I have some pretty good receivers. I got Diggs and Keenan Allen, so I have Kirk in my flex, and I think he's actually going to ball out in that position. So if you start him in your flex, I mean, you're in a good position.
You might be sitting pretty.
Yeah.
All right. So just to recap, the overs that Justin has for his fantasy football projections in week 1 are Damien Pierce over 11 points, Tony Pollard over 11 points, and Christian Kirk over 13 points. And now that I look at that on the screen there, those seem very low for me for those 3 guys. So yeah, I agree with you on all 3 of those for sure. Let us know what you think. Was Justin right? Was he wrong? Let us know who you think might blow up or who might not show up in fantasy football this week. Hit that like button while you're doing that. All right, let's go ahead and move over to your unders. You got 3 guys who you think will go under their projected total this week. Who you got for us first?
Well, I'll start with Kyler Murray. He's projected at 26 points, and I think this game against the Chiefs is going to be a lot like the Rams game against the Bills last night. I think the Chiefs are going to come out and show that they're just a superior team on offense and defense. Kyler's in a similar situation as I mentioned earlier, where I can't think of his name. I'm just going to say Kyler's missing a lot of weapons right now.
Yeah.
You know, his top weapons. Ertz is slated to have limited playing time. Hopkins is out. He's gonna have Hollywood, but we still don't know what they're gonna be. Edmonds, who was a big piece of what they did last year, he's gone to Miami this year. So I think that Kyler's gonna turn a game like Stafford. Maybe not as many interceptions, but right around 220 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. You know, he's going to get his yards on the ground, of course, but he's going to go. I think he's going to go less than 20 points. I think the Chiefs are a better team. Honestly, I think their defense is going to give them fits, and it's going to be a really tough day for Kyler Murray and the Cardinals.
Yeah, I predict that the Cardinals are going to have a rough start to the season. I'm not sure if Kyler Murray will score under 20 points, but I can definitely see him scoring under 26, like it says there. Depending on if he gets any turnovers, obviously he may drop below that 20-point line. But hey, that would make me happy. Not that I want to see anybody do poorly at their job, but if you don't play for the 49ers, I want to see you do poorly at your job. I'm sorry. And that's just the way it is. So I hope that you're right. Yeah. All right.
I mean, nonetheless, he's going to go under the 26. Just with my stat prediction, has him at under 20 points.
I got you. Yeah, I 26 means that he had a pretty solid game, and yeah. I think they're going to struggle. I think, like you said, the Chiefs are the superior team, and he's going to have a rough day, especially with Kansas City not having Tyreek Hill. It's not going to be that fast break offense like before, where the opposing team gets a ton of extra possessions because Kansas City's scoring so fast.
Right.
All right, who you got next for us on the under?
Pains me to say this, but this is my guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's projected at 14 points. I'm going to go under that. I'm going to go under 13 even. 6 catches, 60 receiving yards, no touchdowns in this game. That would put him right at 12 points. And I just think the Eagles secondary is elite. They're an elite secondary. They just brought in Gardner Johnson, safety as well, who's starting quality. He's easily going to be a starter over there. And everyone, has to keep in mind that when St. Brown went on that stretch last year, towards the end of the year, he was on a tear. Don't get me wrong, it was phenomenal. But he was actually one of their only options. Swift missed a few games towards the end of the season, or at the end of the season, I should say. And then also so did Hawkinson. So those guys are back. They both should be playing. I just limited opportunities. So I'm going to take the under in this one. Confidently say that. Not because he's not good, and it's just because I don't like the matchup for one. And, there's going to be more mouths to feed early on in the season with guys being healthy over there in Detroit.
Yep, I agree. Philly's definitely a tough matchup for those guys. I think Detroit's going to be improved, but again, there are going to be some more healthy bodies than there were at the end of the year last year. So ball's going to get spread around a lot more, and good chance he finishes under that 14 points. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least on your unders, who do you got for us here? I know it's going to make some people happy and make some other people unhappy.
Yeah, some people are going to go, come on, man. Well, I'm going to go, it's Chris McCaffrey. He's projected at 22 points, and he's very capable of getting it. Don't get me wrong. I just think this is going to be a sloppy game for one. From Baker, just the anxiety and stuff coming back to Cleveland, and then Cleveland having their backup quarterback, and the storyline. I just think it's going to be a really sloppy game. But not only that, I predict that the Panthers are going to be a little bit more cautious with the volume they give McCaffrey this year in an attempt to keep him healthy. I think they found a quality backup in Chuba Hubbard, who was very efficient in his playing time last year. He did average over 4 yards a carry. He has hands. He can catch the ball, which we also saw last year. So I think limited touches. Carolina's going to be a little bit smarter with McCaffrey this year. I'm gonna take under 22 points. With the stats I have, it has him at 15 points and under. So that may not come to fruition. I just don't have him with a touchdown in the game. Got him at 60 rushing yards, 5 catches, 45 receiving yards, but without a touchdown in the game. That's because when it gets close to the goal line and, they're really going to pound the rock, like I said, I think that they're going to go with the other guys and try and keep him a little bit more healthy and fresh this year, limit the blows to his body, so to speak.
All right. Well, this is the first one I disagree with. Barring an injury, I think Christian McCaffrey's a dub. Just put it on the board. He's a dub. On pretty much every week, unless he gets hurt. So hopefully,
the majority of people feel that way.
But you could be right, and I could be wrong. You could be very right with them wanting to preserve his health and understand that it's a lot safer to put Hubbard in there and let him get banged around on the goal line rather than McCaffrey taking all those hits. But I mean, you got to remember how good this guy is in space. He showed up on the injury, or he showed up not on the injury report this week. Like, he's not on there at all. So
I didn't even take that in consideration because I thought it was just a little fluke thing that something to do with his shin. So I didn't even take that in consideration. I just really think this is a little bit less of a workload than we're used to seeing out of McCaffrey. And again, I think it's going to be really just a sloppy game all around. Who I could be wrong though.
We'll find out, and we can't agree on everything. So, all right, again. So to recap, the unders in Justin's Week 1 fantasy football over/under predictions. He's got Kyler Murray under 26 points. He's got Amon-Ra St. Brown under 14 points. I'll get that name right eventually. And then he's got Christian McCaffrey under 22 points. If you have those guys on your team, you may want to consider looking for better options. Probably won't find any, because if you have those guys on your team, you didn't have better options. That's why you drafted those guys. So either way, he thinks they're going under. I agree with 2 of them. but I think CMC is going to show out in week 1 on Sunday.
I think you cannot find a better option than CMC, but you probably could find a better option than Amon-Ra St. Brown. Maybe not on waivers, but you probably have one on your bench if you drafted well.
If you drafted well. But
yep.
in most of your cases, you didn't, so it doesn't matter.
I know I didn't.
All right, so that's it for Justin's week 1 fantasy football over under predictions. As usual, we're going to ask that you please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. Of course, let us know where we were right or where Justin was right, where he was wrong. CMC, he's wrong on that one, but the rest of them, I think he's right. And then last but not least, please be kind, even to the sad, sad, sad Cowboys fans right here.